Hello. Hey guys, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. And it's so fun to see you guys on today for another live feed. So we are talking about freedom and real freedom. Freedom from binge eating, bulimia. We're talking about overeating, food obsession, body hate, and especially right now, there are so many people struggling, and the world is really waking up in all sorts of ways. But the world is waking up in a super important way about what does and doesn't work with being free from an eating disorder. Hi guys, so fun to see you on. Feel free to say hello, say hi, go ahead and heart and like, or if you have any questions or if you've experienced this yourself, feel free to comment here. So fun to see you guys on. And what we're going to talk about is, as the world wakes up right now to really what's important and all of these realizations of like, oh yeah, that's right, that's exactly why we do this. Coronavirus is really teaching the world overall, but then also especially the world of eating disorder treatment, what we have known for years and years and years. And so I'm really excited to outline that with you guys today. And this is something that you've got to know to get to the other side of an eating disorder. To have true freedom from an eating disorder, there are things that will and will not work. And the things that seem like they work in the moment, there are really clear reasons why they don't work overall. And so we're going to dive into that today so you guys can have good information so you can actually know what does and doesn't work and on your own way to freedom. So hi guys, so fun to see you on. Again, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we're here for another live feed about what really coronavirus is teaching the world that we have known for years. Okay, you must get free from this struggle with food, or the struggle with body, or the struggle with food obsession in your real life. It's as simple as that. There is no way around that. You will be living your real life with real food, with vacations and parties and change. And if your freedom can't handle that change and can't handle your real life, then it's not freedom. It's just hands down as simple as that. You must get free in your real life. And it is incredible how many people come at an eating disorder without that in mind at all. What we really try to do is, because we don't trust ourselves with food. I don't trust myself with food. I know that if I start eating it, I won't stop. I know if I start eating this one thing, then I'm just going to go crazy. I know that I'm, just off the wagon for weeks if this happens. And we build this deep distrust of ourselves with food. And because we don't trust ourselves and because we feel so out of control around food, then we try to control everything else, which is a really natural approach, right? It's like, I can't control myself, and so I've got to control everything else. But this will get you in huge trouble. You will never be free if that is what you're trying to do. So this is what it looks like. And I've been there. I mean, when I had my eating disorder, I tried this approach as well, proved that that didn't work. Now we know what does work. Absolute freedom in any circumstance. But when you don't have that yet, when you don't have the way to do that, you try to control everything on the outside. So we try to buy special foods, right? Okay, I need just the right supplements. I need to take those in the morning. I need to eat all organic. I need to, eat this brand of food. I need to have my this wherever I go. I need to take a Tupperware of exactly what is safe food for me wherever I go. We try to avoid trigger foods. I'm going to put that in quotes. It's triggers. It's a completely false idea. So you go and you try to avoid foods. Like, you try to avoid all the foods that you have a hard time with. You try to keep them from coming in your house. You try to go places where they are. You're constantly trying to control everything on the outside. Or you don't trust yourself, and so you try to end your cravings, right? It's like, okay, well, as long as I never have sugar, then I won't crave sugar. I see that I go totally crazy when I have sugar, so I'm just going to try to control that. And I'm going to try to do every single day where I'm controlling my cravings or attempting to control my cravings, because I'll just never ever have a taste of this. And if I don't start, then I'll never go down that path. And so now we're trying to control all of our cravings. There are so many people trying to fix this problem with food by avoiding food altogether. We hear things like this all the time. Oh, I just don't keep any food in my house. I just completely avoid having any of those kinds of food ever brought into my house. Oh yeah, I had a discussion with my whole family of, they have this locked away in some other place. They have their sweets, they have their snacks, but I don't have any exposure to it. Or, oh, I just go out and get exactly what I need from the store, and then I come home and then I eat that. Or I eat out every single day because I can't handle having any food in my house. This is what it looks like to try to control all of our circumstances. Well, I'm okay as long as I go to this meeting every single week. I'm okay as long as I go to this meeting every single day. Oh, that's a thing that I have to have in place to try to control myself, control the outside, so I can try to control what happens on the inside. Well, I'll binge on food, but nobody will know about it. So then we try to control it by controlling who knows about it, right? Well, it would be so much shame. It would be so awful if my kids knew what was happening, if my husband knew what was happening, if my partner knew what was happening. Like, this would just be so awful. So, I'll, binge when everyone is asleep, and then I'll go out in the morning and I'll go and get all the foods that I binged on, and then I'll replace them. And that way, nobody will ever know. So it's this shopping every single day and going out and replacing foods. Well, I can see that it's this house, it's this job, it's this life. And we try to move cross country. We try to completely change our circumstances. We try to have a 100% fresh start with our outside to try to control our inside. And then it's even more discouraging when we go right back into those old patterns in this new setting. We've known women who have moved multiple times to try to escape their eating disorder because they thought, well, if I just moved to a different place, if I just had a different circumstance, a whole new job, a whole new life, a whole new house, maybe it would go away. We try to avoid every single thing in our life that could lead us down this path that we swore that we'd never go down again, but we don't trust ourselves to not go down it. And so it's a constant, I can't buy this food, I can't be around this food, I can't be around this person, I can't be in this circumstance, I can't be home alone, I can't be out alone, I can't go to this restaurant. And the list gets longer and longer. I want you guys to understand that this might feel like it works for a minute, because it's like whack-a-mole and you've whacked all the moles. Like, okay, well, I don't ever eat this, and I don't ever start this, and I don't ever bring this into the house, and I don't ever go to this other place, and I don't ever talk to this person. Okay, I'm all right for a minute until something else comes up. And the list of the things that you can't do or can't be around, or places you can't go, or emotions that you can't feel. I can't do anything that makes me feel stressed. I can't do anything that makes me feel sad. The list gets longer and longer, and as it does, our lives get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then we have the situation with coronavirus, which has really woken up the world to, wait, we don't have control. There are things that will happen in the world and in your life that you do not have control over. And what's happening is all the things that we thought that we could control, we can't anymore. We can't have all of our special foods because they're not on the shelves at the store. And we can't keep ourselves really busy. We have talked to women who will literally stay out of the house for hours and hours after work because they're so afraid of coming home and binging, that they're losing time with their families. They're losing time doing anything they want because they're literally driving around, like trying to stay out, even staying out and like shopping, like trying to avoid being home. And now with coronavirus, we're trapped at home. Like, now we are here and with all of the food, and people are stocking up on food. We'll have at least, 2, 3, 4 weeks of food in the house. So all of a sudden, all the things that you're trying to avoid, it's this perfect storm of all of those things coming together, and we don't have control anymore. And this is a huge wake up for the eating disorder world. I mean, traditional eating disorder, like paths and treatments, they're freaking out. Like, people can't come to this special sterilized cold clinic that has nothing to do with their home, that they can completely isolate themselves or imagine that they can from all their triggers. People can't go there anymore, because we've got coronavirus happening, all these brick and mortar places where, escape your eating disorder by going to this place, going to this retreat, going to this for camp. Like, you can't do that anymore. Oh, well, I can't go in and see my therapist anymore. I can't go and delve back and go, for the next 20 years to delve back into all of my past trauma to hope that someday my eating disorder is going to be gone. Those things just aren't available anymore. And what it's waking us up to, waking the whole world up to, is that didn't work, and it wasn't going to work in the first place. And so when we don't have control, it can feel really scary. But it's really teaching the world that if you cannot get free, if you cannot be free from this problem of food in your real life, then with any change that happens, if you're not free in real life, a change happens and you're not free, or a circumstance happens and you're not free, and it's not sustainable, and it was never going to be, and it was never going to be freedom. If you're avoiding all of these places and things and emotions, then you're not free in the first place. And this has been such a gift that we are in a world where we realize that we don't have control, and we realize what true freedom is. Because you can manage that for a little while, you guys. For a little while, you can have it be your full-time, everyday obsession to try to manage every single way that you feel in every circumstance that you're in. And it might feel like it's keeping you at bay for a while, but it's no way to live. We have a gift. We all have one gift. It's the amount of time between when we're born and when we die. And we can spend that every single day waking up and obsessing about food and trying to avoid our triggers and trying to go to bed early so that the day ends earlier. Or you can be in your real life. And when you're free in your real life, then that's when you actually get to live. That's why what we hear over and over is, I feel like I'm not living. I feel like I'm just existing from day to day and trying to manage my eating disorder. And then when people come to us and get free, they feel alive for the first time. They feel alive because they can experience emotions, because they can be in their real life, because they don't have to avoid everything. And that is true freedom. So we have known this for years. Everything that we do is based off of the data of what actually gets people free in their real life. Coronavirus has woken people up to, oh wait, if I don't have control over everything, then I freak out and I'm not free. Okay, yeah, we've known that for years and years. That is exactly why we structure the support that we give people in a way that gives them freedom in their real life. So a couple of things to note that are super important in why we get such incredibly quick and effective results. People come to us after 40 years of an eating disorder, trying everything, failing everything. They've had surgery, they've been on every single diet, they've taken medications, they've done therapy, they've done spiritual healing work, they've gone on retreats, everything. All of the different supplements, trying to avoid their triggers, all of this emotional work, trying to have new coping mechanisms. And the awful thing is that after all of that work, after putting your whole life into fixing this, it's still not done. And then they come to us, and in a handful of weeks, some people 2, 4, 6 weeks, they're able to be completely free and done in their real life after trying everything for the last 40 years, because that stuff was never going to work. Most ways that people try to fix an eating disorder actually exacerbate the problem, make it worse, reinforce those same old behaviors. That feeling of it's like the harder I try, the worse it gets, is because the things that you are trying make it worse. And it is a huge relief to be able to be in your real life and know that you are truly free. So, number one, you must get free in your real life, like your real day-to-day circumstances, not going to some meeting, not going some other place, not trying to avoid all the things that you're day-to-day. Like, you've got to be free in your real life. And the way that we do that is that everything is online, everything is digital, with that deep human connection, and the support from somebody who knows exactly how to get you free and is showing you how to do that in your real life, but being able to do that in any time zone, being able to do that in any life circumstance, being able to do that in your real life. Like, our community right now is like hopping, like everyone is celebrating. I mean, we have this incredible woman who came to us after many, many years of trying to end her binge eating disorder. And she's free. Like, she has no compulsion to binge. She doesn't have cravings or a pull toward that at all. And she was celebrating the other day. She's like, I am literally in the perfect storm for my old eating disorder, which was like many, many, many years. She's like, I'm at home, I can't work, I'm bored, and I've got all of these snacks in the cupboard, like months and months and months worth. And she's just happy. She's just fine. Yeah, she's kind of bored. Like, she can't go out. She can't work anymore. She went from very, very busy to not very busy, but she can actually be in her real life and enjoy her life. Like, these are the celebrations that are just coming up over and over. There is an incredibly deep gratitude in our community that they've gotten free in their real lives. So now that they're locked at home with food, it just doesn't matter. So number one, you've got to get free in your real life. And that's exactly why we do everything online and have a system that is flexible around any sort of schedule. So we can have women in Australia and we can have people in California, and they're all getting free because it fits around their real life and they can do it in their real life. So their freedom is experienced in their real life so that they can keep on living. The second thing is that you have got to be free no matter the way that you are eating. This is why we don't ever give somebody a meal plan. If we say, hey, stick to this meal plan for the rest of your life and you can manage your eating disorder, number one, that's actually going to make it worse. People don't understand why that actually makes the problem worse and makes your cravings go crazy. If you want to see how that looks in your real life, go on a very strict meal plan and see what happens to your cravings. So number one, a meal plan is not sustainable. Number two, it actually makes your cravings worse. And number three, it's completely unsustainable for real life because living isn't on a meal plan. When you're with friends and they order a pizza and you guys are having what life is all about, that wonderful human connection, and you're not eating or you're having to eat something completely different from everyone else and you're feeling completely deprived, you don't feel free in that moment. You feel broken. You feel like something's wrong because it is. You can't eat what normal eaters can eat. That is why everything that we teach people is how to be a normal eater. Normal eaters do not live on meal plans for the rest of their life. Normal eaters can change what they eat depending on the circumstance and the occasion, or if there's a coronavirus going on and they're having to eat stuff at home that they weren't used to eating. Great. You can change any way that you eat. You can be in any circumstance. You can be in any country. And the food doesn't matter. What matters is that you are a normal eater. And so you can be flexible. You can travel. You can have all these experiences. Life is not the same food every single day. And if you want to eat in a pattern and eat similar foods most of the time, great, you could do that too. But the point is that normal eaters can do that. That's why we teach people how to be normal eaters, not how to be crazy disordered eaters that are trying to control it all the time, because that just doesn't work. And that is why our clients are able to have such a huge level of freedom, because nothing throws them off. Like, they can go and they can eat totally differently one day, or it can be the holidays and they can eat sweets, or it can just be going out ice cream with the family. And that means zero about their freedom. It means they ate some ice cream one night and then they moved on with their lives. And it didn't turn into a binge and it didn't turn into restricting. There was no reaction to it, because why would there be? They're a normal eater now. So that is why it's so important to, number one, get free in your real life. And that is exactly why we do it that way, so that people can, around their schedules and in their real lives, get free. And number two, you've got to be able to get free no matter what food is around. And number three, you've got to get free from the inside, which means that you are the one that's free. Instead of, I can't trust myself, so I have to try to control every circumstance around me, it turns into, I can absolutely trust myself, and so it doesn't matter what circumstances are around me. That is real freedom. And that is why we show our clients how to do exactly that. Because when you are free from the inside, it doesn't matter what changes. It doesn't matter if you're holed up at home. It doesn't matter if you're scared. It doesn't matter if you feel panicky. All those things are valid and fine ways to feel. But what we're able to do when we get free in a way that is actual freedom is that whatever emotions or circumstances come up, you're the anchor. You're the one who's steady in the storm. You're not trying to control the storm. You are the one. You get free from the inside out, and no circumstance matters. And we have seen this over and over. I mean, we've had clients that they have had to move countries because of some huge circumstance, huge change. They are absolutely fine because they were the anchor. They were free from the inside out because we taught them how to do that. And they practiced and they showed up and they did the work so that they could be that for the rest of their lives. We've had people with tragedies, with death in their family, like in the middle of learning this process. And they have thanked us to not only be able to not turn to food because of their sorrow, but to be able to deal with that grief as well, because they've learned how to be that anchor. They've learned how to be the strength. It's such a big deal, you guys. We've seen people with all sorts of health issues come up. We've seen people that have gone through cancer, or after they were free got cancer, and have sent us years later like thank you letters of saying, thank you so much. Like, I just ran into a really difficult health problem, and I literally would have made it worse with binging in the past. And now I get to live. Now I get to actually be here with my family. Now I get to be on whatever medications I need to be on and not worry about anything that happens to my body, like not go into a craze because this medication may make me gain weight. Okay, if I gain some weight, cool. Like, my body will just even back out afterwards because I have a metabolism that works. I have health. I'm able to eat in a way that nourishes me. People that have had really difficult like restrictions come up with food, right? It's like they develop an allergy. They develop severe like food allergies, or, really difficult autoimmune conditions come up. And they're able to live with freedom and not obsess about food. And they can be able to keep within what they need to do with food, instead of like, okay, well, I can't eat gluten, and so I'm really scared that I keep on binging on gluten. That's scary. For some of the women that come to us, like, that can kill them, to be binging on the things that they really cannot have for their health. And now they still can't have those things, but they're coming from a place of they choose not to, and they feel totally calm about it, and they don't feel deprived because they're the anchor. They are free from the inside out. So to review, you guys, like, you must have a system where circumstances do not matter because it's from the inside out. You've got to be able to eat differently from day to day, and be able to go on vacation and have things that change, and be able to eat spontaneously, and that it's nothing to do with your freedom. Like, you're absolutely free, and so you can eat differently from day to day, and that doesn't interrupt your freedom. And then the third thing that you've really got to have is you've got to be in a place where you're free in real life, in your day-to-day, your everyday, or your real life of traveling or being with different people or feeling different emotions. And that is exactly what we have known for years, and what we have given hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have come to us for help so that they can be free. And right now is when it really counts, you guys. Right now is when everyone is waking up to, wow, we don't have control over everything. And if you can't be free when coronavirus is happening, then your system's not working. And you need to go to the systems that really get you free in no matter what circumstance. And that's why people come to us from all over the world. So right now, there's a huge amount of suffering. I can totally appreciate it in all of these like traditional thinking, the old thinking of eating disorders, of like, oh, okay, we're going to delve into your trauma, we're going to put you on a food plan, all the things that drive up the problem and actually make it worse. But these are sort of the traditional, old-fashioned, what old white guy is going to tell you what to do that has never had an eating disorder when you say like, hey, what do I do? So there's a huge amount of suffering in these communities right now because people are so dependent on going to a meeting every day, or managing whatever through their emotional management with their therapy, or delving into trauma, or whatever it is. And now that people are at home and they can't get access to this system that creates a dependency, the system that creates, you've got to come back here every year, you've got to come back here every week, you've got to check in with me all the time, those sorts of systems are breaking down in a huge way because they don't work with change. They only work with the dependency of I'm going to come back and back and back. And so one of my colleagues actually sent me this article about just how much the eating disorder treatment world is suffering right now. And we absolutely knew that that would be the case. But I just want to point to a couple of things in this article. And I can appreciate people are doing their best. A lot of people go into eating disorder treatment either, number one, because they have their own eating disorder and they're trying to fix it somehow, so they become an expert. We have a lot of those people actually come to us, like PhDs in psychology with specialization in eating disorders, and they come to us because they want to confidentially be able to be done with their own eating disorder so they can be in integrity. Or people have a really caring heart and they want to help people with eating disorders, but they've never had an eating disorder themselves. They have no idea what it's like. And so they just do what the textbook tells them to do. And okay, well, you've got to have this meal plan. And oh, it's not about the food. It's about some past trauma. Why don't you go to 20 years of therapy? And they're doing their best, but they don't know how to fix the problem, or the problem would be fixed. So in this article, I just want to highlight a couple of suggestions that they made and really drive it home of that the old way is not working. So they're asking experts, right? Experts in the eating disorder treatment field. Okay, everyone's freaking out right now. This time is especially difficult for everyone who can't avoid their triggers, who has all of these foods that terrify them, that are around them all the time, who are there at home, and people's eating disorders that have been treated in some other way are just going rampant right now because they don't have control over that anymore, and they weren't that anchor. So one suggestion that they made is try not to think of foods as good foods or bad foods. Okay. But they don't say how to do that. This is the same thing that has just been driven and driven and driven. Just stop it. Just stop thinking this way. Oh, don't think of foods as good food or bad foods. Understand that intellectually, duh, like we know that. There's a difference between, hey, don't think of it this way, as opposed to truly in your bones, just why would I think of it that way? That's not the way that it is. The other tip that they gave is realize that eating disordered behaviors don't fix the problem. Binging, purging, restricting, those things won't make the coronavirus any better. Those things won't help the situation. I don't use this very often, but duh. Like absolutely 100%. Of course. That is what is so difficult about having an eating disorder. We know that. We absolutely know that. I know that this isn't going to fix my problems. I know that binging isn't going to help my sadness. I know that I'm not going to fix coronavirus by me eating a ton of food. I know to not think of foods as good foods or bad foods. Yeah. And if you have an eating disorder, you've probably studied all that and you intellectually know it. You know the science behind it. You know the hormones that are released in your body. You know what every single food does. You know it. An eating disorder is the shame and the feeling of stupidity and the anger that comes from, I know that, so why am I still doing it? I know that's not going to fix my problem, so why am I out of control eating food? I know that foods aren't good or bad, so why am I terrified to eat that? I know that people aren't really measured in their worth by their size, so why am I trying so hard to be thin? And I care more about that than being alive. I know that it's not going to make anything better to binge again. I know that making promises to myself is just the same loop that's happened over and over. I know that starving myself for 3 days isn't actually going to fix my cravings. I know that it's no way to live to try to avoid all of my triggers. But that knowing intellectually doesn't fix the problem. And that is what the world needs to wake up to right now. Is that it's not about explaining to women around the world why it really doesn't help to do all these eating disordered behaviors. You're right. Got us there. What helps is to know how to not do it, is to know how to not even feel to do it. And that is why, since the beginning of us ending eating disorders, we have known what the world is still waking up to, is it has to come from an internal place of being a normal eater where you don't even have these cravings come up. You're not fighting cravings. You just don't have the cravings. You're not fighting compulsions. You're not fighting urges. You don't have them anymore. And you know how to do that. You know how to wake up your brain in the moment. We call it a neurological interrupt system, where in the moment when you've got the, and I'm going to put in quotes, trigger food in front of you, and you've got all the stress and all the sadness, that you can actually wake up your brain from feeling like you want to act on this and melt that away in the moment. We literally on day one teach our clients how to do that. Day one. So the world is waking up to, we cannot fix this problem with eating disorders by creating dependency on an outdated system that is just going to make it worse. We've got to do it where you are the anchor on the inside. And if that is something that you want, if you want that freedom, if you want the freedom to be able to, no matter what changes in the world, that you're the anchor, you're solid. No matter what foods are in front of you, you don't get triggered. No matter what circumstances happen, no matter how you feel, It doesn't turn into you hurting yourself with food. If that's the true freedom that you want, instead of trying to manage and control everything on the outside, which will never work, if you want to be able to have full trust of what's on the inside, trust of yourself, then you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply and you can sign up for a free breakthrough session. And we are going to look at exactly what's holding you back from being in control from the inside with food. We're going to look at, more importantly, what you really want on the other side of this, what freedom is for you. And then you're going to be really clear on next steps about exactly how to solve this. And now more than ever, that it's so incredibly important. You've got to get free in your real life. Whatever you want, even if it's not just freedom from food, whatever you want, you've got to be able to do it in your real life. If you try to do it somewhere else or in a bubble or in some sort of controlled circumstance, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be real. And that is what we have known for years. And that's why everything that we do is structured around that true freedom. It's so amazing to have you guys on today. I hope you guys are, doing everything that you can, in being at home. I know it's sort of a weird circumstance in the world. Be spreading the positivity, be here in this community. We're doing more live feeds to really, be here with you guys. It's been super fun. Like, we've had all of our clients, getting together, and we've been doing some really fun, like, online, conferences, and it's just been really cool to hear everyone celebrate and just, as much as you can, bring community around you in a digital, germ-free way. And we're going to get through this. And really what the point is that the world needs really good minds and good people that are out there and able to serve. And eating disorders keep us so small and keep us back from our gifts. And it has been really amazing to see all of the powerful women doing great things in the world now that they don't have to spend all of their waking hours trying to manage their eating disorder. And if you want to be part of that as well, you know how to get free. Like, we can show you. We know exactly how to get free. And so if you want to have that for yourself, like, we're looking for those who are most committed to really showing up for themselves and being in that process, and we can help you get to the other side of this. So again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply for your breakthrough session. And this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, free woman here at home with all the snacks, totally calm, have been for years, very grateful. And now we're doing that for the millions of people who need that as well, that are still stuck in this cycle. All right. Bye, guys. Mwah.